You know that feeling when the Packers might be about to make a bold move? Yeah, buckle up, because there's a name floating around that could be exactly what the team needs, or just another case of look good on paper. But hold on, we'll get there. First, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and let's talk about fixing the O-line. So here's the deal. Everyone knows the Packers can't afford to mess around when it comes to protecting Jordan Love. The guy showed talent, proved he's got the arm, and might just be the future of this franchise. But none of that matters if the O-line doesn't hold up. And let's be real, last season was a roller coaster. We can't have our QB running for his life every other snap. So what's the move? That's where the classic debate comes in. Do you draft a young talent or bring in someone who's already been tested? In the Packers' case, the answer might be a guy who was once a first-round pick but hasn't exactly lived up to expectations. One of those players who had all the hype but, for one reason or another, just hasn't fully delivered. And here's the interesting part. Does he still have it? Or is this just another case of a guy who'll never quite reach his potential? The name? Jedrick Wills. So what do you think, Packers fans? Worth the risk? Wills was a top 10 pick in the 2020 draft. So yeah, the raw talent is there. The problem? He hasn't been able to lock himself in as one of the league's best. Early on, it looked like he might take off, but over the past couple of years, it hasn't been great. He started 57 games in 5 seasons, but in the last 2 years, barely played. Only 8 games in 2023, and just 4 in 2024. Now, the Packers might be looking at him to boost the O-line. And here's the big question. Do you roll the dice on a guy who's had his ups and downs? On one hand, he's got experience as a left tackle, and we all know how valuable that position is. On the other, if he hasn't figured out by now, is Green Bay really the place where he finally breaks out? And there's another name that could be on the Packers' radar, Jack Driscoll. Not as hyped as Wills, but an interesting option. He's played multiple positions on the O-line, which is always a plus. Over 5 years in the league, he's lined up at left tackle, right guard, and right tackle. So, he could add some much-needed depth to the unit. At the end of the day, the big question is, should the Packers take a chance on a guy who hasn't lived up to expectations but might just need a fresh start? Or go for someone more reliable? Even if they don't have the same upside? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't liked this video or subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We've got all the latest on our Packers, and you don't want to miss it.